Well, I try to keep out of a lot of the politics involved in video games because it kind of takes away from playing the game, you know? Sometimes you do have to recognize it when a company is screwing you, or if a game is doing something that is just kind of wrong, though your definitions of wrong may vary. But I haven't really wanted to weigh in on the Gamergate movement more than threatening and harassing people is wrong, and that is freaking awful. But I guess I might say I've been thinking, and I've read some articles, and, well, views are kind of challenged because, yeah, here's the thing. I used to be kind of one of those gamers who was just like, what's your problem? Sexism in gaming? It's not a big deal. And someone I care about deeply, she started crying because she was a woman and she had to live with sort of the male gaze. Someone looking at her and she being afraid because they might hurt her. Sexism is a real thing in the world. And I kind of had to take stock. Looking back, though, a lot of the arguments she made were a little unfair to me. And I don't mean to say that her views were wrong. I don't understand what it's like to be a woman in the world of gaming, or the world of this area where sexism is such a problem, where women are afraid. I don't understand, because I am a man. But when she actually started arguing with me about some of the games I was playing, so, you know, things that might have a woman in scanty clothes or whatnot, even if it fit the theme of the game, you know, like the setting or what have you, I got to feeling really bad about playing them, like ashamed even. And I hadn't felt that before, and I didn't want to feel ashamed because I really, really enjoyed the game. A perfect example of this is Bayonetta. I love the original Bayonetta. I think it's fun, it's funny. The writing's stupid at times, but it's kind of stupid in that clever way. Yeah, there are faults with gameplay, but I overall enjoyed it. If someone were to go over to me and say, this game promotes violence towards women, or sexism, or panders to the male audience, and you should be ashamed of playing it, I would feel awful. I would still like the game, but I would feel awful about playing it because someone made me feel bad. Really, that's kind of what I want to talk about here with Gamergate just a little bit. A lot of it is people who want to make others feel bad for having sexual images in games, and some of them are genuine concerns. We've had women threatened, for God's sake. That's not cool. But I want to just say that my basic stance is something that, well, it's kind of something that, it's a motto that I've lived by and that has been parroted by a few internet critics. Be good to one another. The best revenge is to live well. I don't want people to feel like they need to attack one another because there's this war going on, real or imaginary. Yeah, I think it's important that we recognize that every medium, video gaming, comics, television, movies, that there's, you know, sexism in there, that we pander to the male gaze. And maybe we shouldn't be going there if we don't agree with it. A good example of this is the game Shadows of the Damned. I played it, and I didn't end up liking it that much because of a scene near the end that's very sexist, and I don't like it. It was just kind of, it made my skin crawl a little bit. But I was fine playing games like Bayonetta because I did enjoy it. I didn't find the sexism to be a problem. It didn't bother me. And yes, I'm a guy. Why should it bother me? But Shadows of the Damned did. I guess my thought process is this. You can't just ignore this. You can't just ignore that games and whatnot have sexism in there. And so I don't think you should. You should recognize it, but you shouldn't let that be a disgraceful thing for you. Sometimes these things are ingrained into our cultures or into tropes, and that's not to excuse them. They were created by, you know, men in the past. But liking them, liking an art style that has, I don't know, scantily clad women, or that has someone being outlandish, or maybe not acting in the way they should, I don't think that that's something we should do. I don't think we should shame people into not liking something. As much as I deride, for example, the Dead or Alive beach volleyball games, because they are basically bikini simulators, I don't think I should go up to somebody and say, you should feel fucking terrible for playing that. I don't think so, because if they're having a good time, that's between them and their game. And maybe they can't see it. Maybe they don't want to understand the whole sexism angle. But at the same time, who am I to really judge them? And that kind of goes both sides with this Gamergate issue. I don't want people to attack the video games themselves. Yes, you need to point out when there are problems, things that we don't even understand really, things we don't notice. For example, Lollipop Chainsaw. It's another game I like. Features, your Buffy the Vampire Slayer style cheerleader, skimpy clothes, wielding a chainsaw. I think it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of moments where, it's played for sexual humor, and when I saw that, I was just like, that's not funny. That's kind of stupid. And for me, that was my noticing it. And there were other moments when there was a little sexual humor that I thought, that's really clever, that's funny. I still noticed it, but I was able to sort of make the differentiation between what I like and what I don't like. So noticing is important, but let's not shame people. And I mean this on both sides. Absolutely. Don't shame feminists, game developers. Don't shame people because they want people to look at something, to notice something, to be aware of something. And on that other side, don't shame gamers for liking what they like. I mean, maybe the game isn't very good. Maybe it's got its problems. Maybe it is just pandering, but who are we to really judge people, you know? I just want everyone to live. Gaming is meant to make people happy. It's a relaxing and fun hobby, and so many people come out in support of Gamergate because we deserve ethics. We're behind the gamers. And some people come out against it because you're a gamer, you hate women. And I'm trying to find the middle ground here because no one wants the middle ground. Everyone wants the extremes. I want to play games. More than that, I want people like my friend who was, feeling uncomfortable with them to play games. I want her to feel comfortable playing games. And I think that, yes, we should realize when things are getting a bit uncomfortable in the sexual realm, when things are pandering. I think that we should realize when the games media has screwed with us. But I don't think we should shame people for that. Here's my thoughts on the whole Zoe Quinn thing. I don't know if Zoe Quinn is a terrible person. I know about what happened with her, that maybe she was in bed with some other person in the game's media, and that maybe that's, how she was able to get advanced copies, or maybe reviews or whatnot. I can't remember if she's a developer or a news pundit, but if you don't like Zoe Quinn, that's fine. That doesn't mean you harass her. That doesn't mean you threaten her. That doesn't mean you shame her. It means, here's what she did. Let's move on with our lives. We've got games to play. We've got fun things we can still do. Let's not get hung up on hurting people. That's really the big thing here. I don't want people to be hurt. I mean, I don't want women to feel like they're threatened, and I don't want gamers to feel bad for playing the games that they like. I mean, if you find a new type of game that you dislike because you're noticing this, that's fine, You found something new, you grew. That's what it means to be human. But I don't want someone taking a game that you love and making you feel bad because they shame you. And I don't want people to do the opposite. I don't want them to attack feminists or social justice warriors. That is an incredibly stupid term, by the way. Social justice is something we should all be striving for. SJW should not be a frickin' insult. I don't want people attacking these others because how would you feel if they attacked you? How would you feel if you got personal, if you were threatened with life or death, if someone threatened to hurt you, to do terrible things to you? We as people, not just gamers, but as people should be better than this. We should strive to make things. What I mean by that is we should strive to create. When you attack, when you shame, when you harass, you are not creating. You're destroying. Even a video like this, where I'm just trying to put my views, I'm trying to create something. I'm trying to create a balance. And I know not many people will hear it, but maybe it's just a balance within myself I want to create. An understanding, Let me just close out with this. whatever Zoe Quinn's done, whatever someone like Anita Sarkeesian has done, yeah, you can recognize that you don't like them. And then move on. You don't have to pay them attention if you don't like them. I would say it's good to look at their views, but you don't have to threaten or harass them. And for God's sake, don't do that. That is a terrible thing to do for any human being, no matter what they've done. And the same thing with the feminists. If you don't like the games, that's fine, but don't shame the gamers. Don't shame people for just wanting to have fun. When I was a little boy, in 1990, I was only about 2 years old, and I first discovered my first game, my brother's Nintendo, back when he was still keeping it from me. And for me, gaming was this wonderful nirvana. It was relaxing, it was fun, it was a way to live life differently. It was like living in a book. You could see things that no one else could see. And I still try to hold on to that. Not this boys club mentality where women can't game. That's stupid. But this thing that gaming is fun. We play video games because they are on some level fun. So let's stop trying to make them unfun. Either by harassing people or by shaming people. Don't harass people in the games media, feminists, supporters of the anti-Gamergate movement. Don't harass them. Because you're just making games less fun for everyone. And on the other side, don't shame people for liking the games they like. We're all different. We all have our different tastes. I mean, there's a lot of different exceptions and rules you could try and make up to justify all this. And I've tried to justify things. I've tried to say, oh, Bayonetta's a great character. That should excuse the sexism. No, it shouldn't. I don't have to defend what I like to people. And I shouldn't have to, because that means that they've made me feel bad about something I like. There are good parts and there are bad parts. We can recognize them. This is fine. Now, I just want to close out here by saying I'm not a fan of Anita Sarkeesian's viewpoints. I think she articulates them very poorly. I think she's very confrontational. But I don't like her viewpoints. Do I think about her that much? Not really. I move on with my life. I have things that I want to do, games I want to play. I have a job that needs to do, and friends I care about. And really, that's what everyone else needs to do. Don't harass these people. If they want to talk about sexism in gaming, let them talk about sexism in gaming. They're welcome to, their opinions. I encourage them not to shame people, just the same way I encourage people not to harass others. But, they're entitled to their viewpoints, just like the rest of us are. They're entitled to not be scared of their viewpoint, just like the rest of us are. I told people about how I felt terrible when someone shamed a game I liked. How do you think these people feel when you harass them for their viewpoints? Live and let live. Let go of the hatred. You don't need to attack people. You don't. For the love of God, please, can we just get back to playing games? I think it's important that we recognize the issues that people are talking about. The sexism in video gaming. Occasionally, they can be very bad for people. Video games can teach, and sometimes they'll teach the wrong things. But we shouldn't be making a war over this. We should be working together, for God's sake. The feminists want change. The gamers want their hobby to stay the same. So let's work together on this. Let's not shame the games. Let's make gamers realize when there's a problem. And maybe they can still enjoy the games they like. No one's going to take that away from them. The feminists are not going to take your games away from you. Anti-Gamergate is not going to take your games away from you. You still have your games. So what's the problem in just recognizing that there might be something, eyebrow-raising about the situation? I mean, I just want people to live and, be good to one another. I don't want games to be a reason for people to die. I mean, if you want to die for something you love, that's one thing, but don't kill someone over this, for God's sake. I just want people to be able to enjoy this medium we have together. I mean, granted, I play a lot of solo games. I'm not an online multiplayer, but I I've been able to share my views with the world, the web, and I've found people who like and dislike things that I like and dislike, who hate the things I like and who like the things that I hate. And that's fine. I feel like I'm part of a community. At one point I commented on a forum, and yeah, it was a depressing comment. I was very critical of a game, and I got a few negative feedbacks, but there were also people who wanted to encourage me, saying, we understand what you mean. And some of them chided me. Maybe you shouldn't have been so mean to it. I mean, yeah, it's got problems, but it's a little harsh. We're doing this as people. We're part of something bigger. I don't think that we should be attacking one another. So, in the immortal words of Louis Lovehog Linkara Moarte, from atop the fourth wall, be good to one another, everyone. Let's stop Gamersgate. Let's stop anti-Gamersgate. Let's work together on this. How about the movements join? And we enjoy the games we love while recognizing that they might have some flaws to them. This is Video Game Growing Pains, signing out.